Hey, what is going on, IK Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder, and today we're going to be talking about the new seasonal event, Harvest Festival, here in Infinity Kingdom. We may touch on something else at the end, just depending on what I feel like talking about, but stay tuned for that just in case. Now, before we break down the event, compare it with its historical past events as well, as usual, if you enjoy the content, make sure you sub, like, ring the notification bell, and of course, if you want to join and be a part of our conversation, make sure that you head to the Discord. You can find a link to that in the pinned comment description down below. Okay, so here we go. Harvest Festival, and again, this isn't going to be too long of a video, I would imagine, but I did believe it was important to cover this for good historical references as well. So we have the standard 5-day reward base where you just get essentially a resource each day. We go into work hard, and this is where you have your 5-day task-based event. So here is where you're going to complete accolades, tasks across the 5 days that'll open up, and then you'll end up getting some of what usually seems to be event-based items, and then you get resources. In this case, you get the harvest coin. You get 2 here, 3, that brings us to 6. We get 4, brings us to 10. And then this probably is going to be 5, yeah, so 15. You get some superior chests thrown in. You can see here across a few of the days, right, some, again, decent. I think there was some Philo stones we just saw there for day 3 that opened up, right? So that seems about 4 or 5. But again, you got 15 here are the harvest coins. Then we'll go to harvesting soon, right? These are the standard ways you get it, right? Gathering resources from RSS tiles, gathering from production buildings inside the city, attacking gnome armies, gnomes, and then of course the bosses as well. Then we get the cheerful banquet, right? And it does look like we're going to get some of these as well, but it's kind of give an example, right? I'll do 5, and then I get getting some of the fruit here, and you can see here, right? During the event, use stellar fruit to produce stellar juice. Can be used in the cheerful banquet event to redeem wonderful items. Producing juice can also yield points. With enough points, chests can be opened for great rewards. Once chests have been opened for a certain times, it will no longer give rewards other than stellar juice. So, again, this is the juice that I've earned, and then you can see here the juice will give me these. Right now, the stellar coins, you see I can only get up to 15. So, what that means is that really, if I want to get this, you essentially just have to pay to get more of those. But it means that unless I did, I wouldn't have access, right? With the 15 free-to-play coins, that's very specific, I'll miss out on that. I'll miss out on the permanent here, right, which is plus 3% gathering. I'll miss out on the 500 dragon crystals. And then, essentially, I'm only going to be able to get 3 of these. So that's 15 philo stones I'm missing out on. And then again, right, even if you have the 324 hours, I could only get 1, not the other 2. And then you'd also, I mean, again, I guess you could just do the superior optional chests, but even if you did that, with it being 2, you still would only be able to get 7 in that case, so 7.5, but just not counting the half. And then again, right, if you want to get anything else, right, you'd have to just pay a little bit for it. So this is pretty standard to how we've kind of gone about looking at historical events to based on where we currently are. And I think it's important to note that there is a level of what is only becoming more and more apparent of consistency. So we're seeing, for example, that we're not really being able to unlock a lot of the premium resources / materials that we once upon a time used to be able to do. Now, even though it wasn't extremely consistent, it was more often back then than it is now. And I think that is something that, unfortunately, I guess we kind of have to come to terms with. It would be nice, and this is something I will always say every event, that I've been saying for almost nearly every event, they just need to make it to where every single resource is able, every single reward, right, here that you would get in Fruitful Achievement, everything here needs to be unlockable by free-to-play. But the way to make it worth it is you make it where they might have to use some of their resources, right? You might have to spend, a little AP to get everything, right? Or you might have to use a decent amount of AP, whatever it may be. But again, make it so where you might have to actually, consistently participate in this event every single day more than just the bare minimum. If you want to be able to get everything, maybe make the task amounts higher. Maybe add in a few more tasks. There are ways to curve it to where you can still pretty much end up with the same results, but you are catering to the grinders, right? And you're giving players a reason to play the game more. When it shows that you're only giving, right? And this is the thing. You can have, if you want to make it to where, you have like a spending. I mean, I know they were doing that thing before where they have the columns, right? You want to have one of those things, and like that's the thing where you get a spending column. So you have one area which we're familiar with, where here you can pretty much get everything. Then you have something else, and they don't have it here, but it would kind of be an example of this, right? Sometimes they'll do that. I think this is the one, work hard, where they'll either do something like the 5-day across, or they'll do the accolades or the task column, rewards columns. And so, do something like that, where maybe you just throw something in that specifically, because you've already set that precedent, right? That standard across the board that, hey, this is something that you can, they have a free-to-play column, you got a gem spending column, and then you have a money spending column, right? Have that be where the spenders can get the value in, right? But at bare minimum, if you want to engage people, right, allow for them to achieve everything, but just make it harder to do. And that's, I think, really where most of us want the challenge, is that, oh, cool, wow, I can unlock everything. I can get all these awesome rewards, but man, I'm going to have to put in some time to do that. And I'm probably going to have to spend some resources that I've been saving up, right? So, make it towards more of a choice on, hey, do I save up for this event? Do I save up for that event? Right? As most things are in general. But I think that's a way that we can make these types of events better, as I can tell you, people like myself and others enjoyed being able to do that grind and actually unlocking everything that was there as a reward. I'm sure it wasn't as though it was extremely easy, but it wasn't as though we had to break our banks to do it either, right? And that's more resource banks, not necessarily, real financial or real money banks. So just a note that I wanted to throw in on the event. And then I guess the last thing I wanted to touch on is, and I'll probably cover this more in depth in another video, but it's weird. I'm in this like middle place right now with IK where, I still enjoy putting the content out, not as passionate as I once was about it. But every so often, right, there are things, and I think in these past 2 updates that we've got from IK, there have been a few things in the updates that have made me, it's almost as though I'm over here and I'm just, it's cool. And then, I read something, I'm just like, just like slowly looking out the corner of my eye or something. And, it's not getting me to do a full head turn or getting me to be extremely re-engaged again as I was. Though there are some things, and I've talked about this in a previous video too, but I thought this was appropriate because honestly, I would love to get back into IK and be as passionate as I once was, right? To where I enjoy logging in and playing my account, and and more so than just going in to do my dailies, right? Like I'll go in to do my dailies and that's great. But for these types of games, you want people to do more than just doing their dailies. You want them to hang out in game and chat and socialize and, participate with other players and try to 100% complete events. That's a part of the social experiment, and hopefully what, most players would want out of these types of games, right? It's never really enough just to kind of go in and do your dailies. You're not really fully enjoying a game in my opinion, in that way, because if you're just logging in to do the dailies, that's no time to socialize. That's no time to do more than your bare minimum, right? I mean, at that point, it might almost be better just to possibly play a different game, because you're not able to fully enjoy a game to its extent if you're not giving yourself an opportunity, or you just don't have the time to do it, right? Where you can experience a game near to its fullest, if not its fullest. And so I hope that, again, not to, steer anyone away from IK or anything, because again, I still like the game. I mean, it's the only other kingdom builder on the market right now outside of Rock that I enjoy-ish currently. It's the only one that I make videos about. And, obviously that's until something else comes out that I think, but, I was playing Rock for almost 3 years, about 3 years, a little over 3 years, give or take. And, all of that while I was looking for another Kingdom Builder, right, to see something else that I could play and try and get in on the ground floor. Infinity Kingdom was that for me. And, even though I thought the game has had so much potential, I still think it does have some. I don't think the ceiling is as high as it once was, just depending on the future directions that they go in. And don't get me wrong, right? I mean, Infinity Kingdom, in my opinion, even now, is just a few major features away, more than that, a healthier amount than that when it comes to kind of small, medium style features, away from, being able, in my opinion, to really compete with Rock, as kind of offering a different slice of the pie, right, or a different pie in the shop. And I still believe that, but in its current state, it's just not there. And, I'm hoping that, across these next couple updates, it'll be interesting to kind of see where things go. I will say at one time, I really thought the door was closing. And at one point I thought it was near closed just because of the direction the game was going in. And even though I still think I'm leaning more on that side of the line, thankfully I'm not, quite done yet. So it will be interesting, I'll say, just to kind of see where a few of the next updates go. And obviously there's some big things that need to get fixed. I know one of the biggest things, obviously outside of just some of the general bugs, is, the situation with KVK and kind of the thermal tower pre-placing. That's been something that I know has been plaguing a lot of, regardless if everyone knows about it or not, it is something that has been plaguing a lot of KVKs, and really no one wants that to happen. So again, hopefully that's something that gets addressed in the next update. It would be a shame if it didn't and it got pushed to the one after that. Again, that's just one of, I think, more than a handful of things that could get addressed or improved that would drastically make the day-to-day player experience a lot better. So yeah, maybe we'll do a deep dive on that one too in a future video. But that's it for me. Again, hope you guys enjoyed this one of us covering the seasonal event. If there's any thoughts or comments on that or what I kind of talked here about in the second half, please feel free to let me know down there below. That is it for me. As always, until next time, I'll catch y'all later.